I saw that the OFCOM survey results are back in. This is not dissimilar to a study that was completed, I think, a couple of months ago in America. They did a very similar one where they tabled the question en masse to millions of Americans, and they said, where do you get your news from? Now, it's quite an important question, isn't it? Where are people getting their information from? What are they using to foment their opinions and voting behavior, more importantly? What are they doing news-wise? Where do they get it from? They all came back and said Joe Rogan. I don't know if you caught that episode when we were talking about that, how ridiculous, how depressing that is. That more Americans now get their news from Joe Rogan and like Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens and Tim Dillon and Tucker Carlson. Like, all of these conspiracy theorists, and there's millions of Americans going like, yeah, this is real. This is where I get my news. Candace Owens said what? About the French president's wife is really a man? This is news. So they did that study. That was a couple months ago. We talked about that. And now there is the UK version, the shit British version, where, you know, some guy with a YouGov clipboard stands around in a high street for a couple of hours and asks a few questions, and then they, you know, populate stuff. No, it's not that bad. It's not that shit British version-y. It's, you know, online questionnaires. It's phone calls. So you get the boomer vote factored in. There's probably a little bit of like Vox Pop, high street stuff, right? And basically in the round, broadly speaking, you end up with a gauge of where people get their news from in Britain in 2025. And guys, I'm dead psyched to tell you, it's basically as bad as the United States. It is. So 70% of us still get our news from television, from ITV News, Sky, Channel 4, BBC News, etc. Fine, 70%. But also hovering around 70%, 2/3 of us basically get our news from websites and apps. And then it says like there's another 45% tier that get it from social media. So I don't know, like obviously there's a bit of an overlap here. Like some get some from social media, but they also still watch TV. But in the round, as I say, it's not great reading. Is it? It doesn't warm the cockles, doesn't reinstall any confidence in you that the voting public may be well-versed on topics, that they might be reasonable, non-polarized, that they might not be susceptible to disinformation. When 2/3 of us get news from websites and apps, and almost half of us get news actively from social media. So, yeah. And then we wonder how we end up with this whole subset of people truly believing that Trump won the 2020 election, or that vaccines cause autism, or this breakout of measles up in Liverpool that's directly attributed to vaccine skepticism now, because it's such a fucking booming industry, is vaccine skepticism. I've been seeing a few tweets recently where they suggest, like, should we actually look to wind down the internet? You know, like, has it given people too much kind of freedom, free speech? Has it emboldened some people and radicalized others? Should we look to shut down big, you know, corners of the internet to try to get a grip of the problems that it is inarguably causing to our entire civilization? And I'm always like, no, like we shouldn't. You shouldn't have to shut down something as fundamentally amazing with the potential that it does. You shouldn't have to shut down the internet because, you know, a few idiots out there might be susceptible to this, that, or the other. But you should have to pass an IQ test before you get access to it. You just should. You know, alcohol is a great thing. Alcohol loosens you up. It makes you funnier. It makes your friends think that you're funnier. It's a great time. Who doesn't love booze? Everyone over the age of 18 should be allowed to have a glass of wine or a bottle of beer. It's good. It's amazing. You should be allowed to enjoy some alcohol. But whether you think it's an infringement on his rights or not, my Uncle Paul, his family, the judiciary have all manifestly decided that he is not allowed alcohol. He can't be trusted. It's not for him. And I really think the internet is the same. I think you should have to pass some sort of test or blow into a breathalyzer or do a few IQ tests like Mensa things before society can trust you. That you're not going to use it for something fucking stupid.